good evening, Niner fans. It is officially Victory Monday. It's been Victory Monday all day, but now we are sitting here watching this Monday night football game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. Honestly, I hope both teams lose, but I know 49ers need the Seahawks to win. I just can't sit here and say go Seahawks, but let's just hope Seattle wins this game. Right now, it's 7-0 Eagles. The game's in the first quarter with 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. So it's early. Eagles definitely have the lead right now. They're up. They got the hot start. So see how this game goes. I'm tired of the birds, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm tired of birds. I'm tired of all these damn bird teams. The bird gauntlet is exhausting. We played Seattle. We played Philly. We played Seattle. We just cooked Arizona. I don't want to look at a bird for a long time after next week, the Ravens. But before we get to the Ravens, we got to focus up and see, how the team's feeling after a big win yesterday. So we got some injury updates to talk to you about. We'll talk about Brock Purdy and everything else in between. How are we feeling? How are we doing? Mario, he's already saying, Bell gives me Kyle Williams vibes wearing the number 10. Yeah, Ronnie Bell's a rookie. We'll talk about him, but definitely need to get Ray back. He's, a more experienced return man. But yeah, we got saved yesterday on that fumble that they ruled not a fumble. So, in any case, how are we feeling today? It's Victory Monday. The Niners with a big win yesterday. They scored a 40-burger on Arizona. It was a good win. Brock Purdy, man, he just marched this team down the field. He played really good. He played very good yesterday. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and people are going to sit here and still give him the crap and the hate and this and that. But Brock Purdy continues to push and show that he's the number 1 quarterback in the NFL statistically. And again, Dak Prescott yesterday, he fell apart and he didn't have a good game. So I think Dak, you take him out of this MVP conversation. And, Dak really hasn't beat great teams. And they lost to the Bills last night, and it's a big loss for him, a big loss for Dallas and the Dak Prescott bandwagon train. Brock Purdy, he keeps winning, man. He's beaten great quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts. He's beaten Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence. Next week's the biggest test. If Brock Purdy goes head-to-head with Lamar Jackson and gets the dub, Brock Purdy's the MVP. There's no question. Now, I know Brock Purdy said yesterday that he believes Christian McCaffrey is the MVP, and that's a very respectful player. That's a very respectful take, and I love that he says that, because they're so humble. There's no, I in this team, cliche there, but Kyle Shanahan has a hell of a locker, and these guys love each other, and they're brothers. When Brock Purdy says, I'm just the guy that facilitates the ball to him, I turn around and I look, and he's, carving down the lane. It's nice to hear a quarterback that just respects his, playmakers. But let's be honest, Christian McCaffrey, he says, no, he's the MVP. Both of those guys are great. They could be co-MVPs for all I care. But Brock Purdy, man, with this quarterback situation, we've been searching for a franchise quarterback, and Brock elevates this team, and he's taking this team to new heights, and I feel like people don't respect him enough in the media in general. But I mean, look at Brock Purdy, what he's doing. Let me pull up some stats. Yesterday we all talked about, how Nate Burleson said, if you don't think Brock Purdy is a leading MVP candidate, you don't know ball. Absolutely. Look at this. Brock Purdy, who was the last pick in the NFL draft, he's beaten former number 1 picks Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray. He had a huge game yesterday. He's number 1 in passer rating, pass touchdowns to interception ratio, pass touchdowns to attempt, yards per attempt, yards per completion, wins. He's number 2 in passing yards. He's number 1 in touchdowns, right? Passing touchdowns with 29. He leads the NFL in passing touchdowns. Like, Brock Purdy has been playing at a high clip. And I know he has great playmakers, but you have to facilitate the ball. He's made some high-level throws. He's playing like an MVP in my book. So, man, I love it. Brock Purdy is a perfect term of blessing in disguise, says LA Dodgers. Truly is a blessing in disguise. He's been phenomenal for this team. And his story, we talk about it a lot. His story is just amazing, for lack of a better word. He came in last pick in the draft. Nobody even thought he'd make the roster over, Sudfeld, and boom, he was QB3, and then boom, he gets all the way up to QB1, and now he hasn't looked back, and he's franchise quarterback, and this team might win a Super Bowl, and Brock Purdy's going to be the quarterback if that happens. And, he's setting records. Like, he is close to beating Jeff Garcia or passing Jeff Garcia in yards for a season and being the franchise record holder in total yards in a season. Like, he's moving up the record books. He's doing great. 49ers haven't had a 4,000-yard receiver or quarterback in years. And I know there's some great players on this team, and you got to give them credit, but they all credit Purdy, because he pushes the ball down the field. I mean, his vision, his ability to extend the offense has been second to none. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love Brock Purdy and what he's doing to this team. And he's so humble and he's so nice. And he's 23 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Expect this man to be here for a long time and do great things for a long time. And this is a franchise quarterback. The 49ers finally found a franchise quarterback, and it's refreshing. Sit back and enjoy. That's all I can say. His arm strength's getting better. He's testing it deep. I mean, he's throwing some dimes, man. He's just throwing some dimes, and he's throwing some really high-level passes. I love to see it, LA Dodgers says, I got goosebumps when the crowd chanted his name when he came out of the tent. Goes to show you that he really is a valuable asset to the team. Oh, man. When I was at the game, as we know, and that whole moment, that whole feeling was just like everybody was on, pins and needles. Everybody was tense, and we were like, oh, my God, is Brock okay? Is he okay? And when he came out, it was like the greatest thing ever. It was like, oh, my God, Brock Purdy. Everybody was so hyped up. And, Sam Darnold, he's not going to be able to do what Brock Purdy does. Like, no discredit to him. He's a good backup. He'll be a backup quarterback, and that's fine. But 49ers aren't winning a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold has to start games. So that's just my take on it. And everybody saw what Sam Darnold, and I know it was very limited, but when Brock Purdy came right back after the few plays he missed, with 3 plays, he came back, moved the ball down the field, and scored a touchdown immediately. That is amazing. So for anybody that sits there, oh, he's a system, he came right in. He was hurt. Boom. Walked down the field. Touchdown. Unbelievable plays. He's the guy, man. Let's see. Raj, it was amazing meeting you at the game, taking a pic. Let's go, man. Appreciate you, Josh. It was dope to see. I saw so many people. So I tried my best to meet up. I didn't meet up with everybody, but I'm glad you were there and you got to say what's up. We got the pic, and makes my day when everybody says what's up to me. And I was just walking in the airport today, and I ran into someone that was like, I was sitting there. I was like making a video, and I'm sitting there, and then I'm loading it and charging my phone. And some guy looks up, he goes, wait, are you Raj? He's like, I was just reading your story. I just saw you post this. He goes, are you Raj? I was like, yeah, that's me. He goes, what's up, man? So saw people everywhere, man. It's pretty cool. Mario says, Moody is not making me nervous anymore. You know what? Jake Moody, man. Shout out to Jake Moody. He's been nailing it. He's been nailing kicks. There was a stat. I got to pull up this. I'm glad you said this. We got to give Jake Moody his flowers. Let me see. Somebody tweeted last night, and I was like, it's impressive. That's impressive. He has been dialed in. So respect to Jake Moody. Let's see. I know there was a tweet last night. Oh, yeah. So here it goes. I think it's from Nick Wagner. It says, it's a small thing that matters. 49ers kickers Jake Moody is now 53 of 53 on extra points this year. That's the second most makes in the league. No kicker has more than 34 PATs, has yet to miss except for Moody. Moody is 71 of 74 on all kicks this year. 71 of 74. Jake Moody's been cool as the other side of the pillow. He's been nice, man. So early season jitters, he's been quietly dominating. So it's nice to see. Very good. Very good. There was a lot of red and gold. Says, yeah, man, it was hard to find everybody. I tried to find so many people, but it's tough. So my man Carl Thomas says, how is Lenore's injury update? Yeah, let's talk about injuries real quick, because it is Victory Monday, and Kyle Shanahan meets with the media on Mondays, and that's one of the things that he talks about is the injuries. So here we go. Let's break it down for you guys. So today, Kyle Shanahan met with the media, and he said that Deommodore Lenoir has a rib contusion, and he's considered day-to-day. So a rib contusion, to me, that tells me it's a lot of pain. It's going to be a pain tolerance thing. It doesn't sound like there's a fracture, which is great. But rib injuries they're painful, man. No matter how you slice it, it's painful. But, Demo's tough. he's a very strong dude. He's a very tough, physical guy. I'm hoping he'll be ready for next week on Monday. The good news for the 49ers is they get an extra day off. That's clutch. The 49ers get an extra day off this week because the game against the Ravens is Monday night. So that extra day is going to come in big. So hopefully Mooney can play, or sorry, Diamond Lenore can play, but he is day to day with a rib contusion. So that's relatively good news because it could have been worse. You know, he could have had a huge, nasty rib fracture, and knock on wood, he did it. A couple other injuries to notice. This is when the season gets a little, it's a grind. It's a dog days of the season. It's almost towards the end of the year. And these little nagging injuries are going to come up, and you never know what's going to happen. So today, Jawan Jennings entered the concussion protocol. That he's physical, man. He's so nasty. So unfortunate for him. He's in the concussion protocol. Hopefully he gets cleared this week. We'll see. So keep an eye on that. We need that guy. He's our enforcer. He's the junkyard dog. Man, I love Jawan Jennings. He had a nasty block yesterday on one play. I saw someone they pulled it up. I remember seeing it in live, and then let me see. I know I saw it, and then someone tweeted. Let me pull it up. He is just so physical. We need this guy. We need our enforcer, Jawan Jennings, man. This is a guy that's just incredible. I can't find it. It is what it is. We'll have to find it some other time. But I mean, every week he makes incredible blocks, right? Is just a blocking machine. He's just a pancake man, right? He every week it's like, dang, man. Dang. Oh, here it is. So, oh man, this play is nice. It was on a run from Jordan Mason. So, boom. You see a drop. I mean, Jawan Jennings just drops the hat on him, on the defender. And then there was another run. I'm looking at it now. It's another run. Boom. CMC run. And Jawan Jennings just opens it up. If you want to see it, it's on Ben Fennell's Twitter. Ben Fennell, Fennell. Yeah, it was an incredible block. He's just a monster. But Jawan Jennings, concussion protocol. Hopefully he can get cleared because the Niners need that, man. He's a physical monster. A couple other injuries. Clelin Ferrell is day-to-day with an ankle injury. Hopefully he can come back because they need depth, man. At the end of the day, he may not be a starter, but he's good depth. And the 49ers are already dealing with a lot of injuries in their D-line. And as we saw yesterday, that run defense was not it. And if they're going to play the Ravens, who are a very good rushing team, they're going to need all the defensive linemen they can get. And that brings me to the next defensive lineman, Kalia Davis, the young buck, the second-year player. He suffered a high ankle sprain, and he'll be out a few weeks. That's a bad injury to me. High ankle sprain, on a defensive lineman, it's going to be a couple of weeks. That sucks. Hopefully he can get right because, again, they need defensive linemen in their roster. They need depth. So real quick, I'm going to recoup those. So Jawan Jennings, concussion. Clelin Ferrell, day-to-day with an ankle injury. Kalia Davis, high ankle sprain, out a couple of weeks. Diamond Lenore, day-to-day with a rib contusion. And then the other big update of the day is Arik Armstead, and Javon Hargrave have a chance to return against the Ravens per Kyle Shanahan. But he didn't really give us a true update. He says he's still not sure if they're going to be back or when they could come back, but he said they have a chance to play. So it's like touch and go. They have a chance to play. We'll see, though. I really, really hope Hargrave and Armstead can play on Sunday. The Niners desperately need those guys. They desperately need Hargrave and Armstead, especially with Clelin Ferrell and Kalia Davis hurt. 49ers need Hargrave and Armstead. Those two guys are so important to this team. Again, they've been dealing with some injuries. Armstead has the foot. Hargrave has the hamstring. Those two guys are unbelievable. And based off of that, so check this out. So today, the reporters asked Kyle Shanahan if there's been any discussion about free agent defensive lineman Ndamukong Suh, because the 49ers have some defensive line depth that we just mentioned, right? Hargrave and Armstead are out. Now, here's the thing. They said last year they were interested in him, Ndamukong Suh. So the 49ers tried to get Ndamukong Suh last year. If you guys remember, Ndamukong Suh chose the Eagles over the 49ers. Yeah, we know how that went. He chose the Eagles over the 49ers. But because the 49ers have a lot of depth, they might actually try to go and get Ndamukong Suh, depending on how these injuries play out. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? You think adding Ndamukong Suh would help this team or hurt him? He's kind of one of those weird guys in the locker room, or those people give them a bad rep in the locker room, drama, this and that. But man, if the 49ers need depth, you go and sign a guy like this. He might not be at his peak powers, he may not be elite, but absolutely the 49ers would be okay. I think it'd be a smart depth move. He's not going to be there like full-time starter or anything, but with Hargrave out, with Kalia Davis out, with Hargrave out, with all these guys nursing injuries, it wouldn't hurt to go get Ndamukong Suh just for some depth. So, but again, yeah, the 49ers run defense was not good, and that was a lot of it was because of those two guys missing. My man Peter Parker says, "Fuck it, we already going all in as it is. I mean, you might as well." Depressed Niners fan, what's good, my man? He says Fred's worst game, to be honest. Honestly, it was Fred's worst game. He missed a lot of tackles, and the 49ers missed 16 tackles, the full tally. 16 tackles. That's a lot of missed tackles. We saw them. They were missing at a very high rate. Very, very high rate, man. It was not pretty. It was not pretty. It was just an ugly, ugly sight to see all those missed tackles. Yeah, they need to clean that up. Fred Warner needs to play better. He talked about it yesterday. He goes, we set the standard. Our standard is winning and getting to the playoffs and then making a run to the Super Bowl. He goes, we're not satisfied yet. At the end of the day, yeah, it's great that they won the NFC West Championship for the second year in a row, but the job's not finished, like they said last night. They got a long way to go, and Fred knows he can play better. If he's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, he needs to play better than what he did last night. Missing tackles is not going to be able to beat the Ravens. If you have a game against a team like the Ravens, who I think are the best team in the AFC, you're not going to beat them if you're missing that. Because Lamar Jackson, if he makes you miss, it's wraps. It's wraps. So, Shades by Shardal says, I just saw the video with Smitty and you from yesterday. Your predictions were truly uncanny. I'm telling you, Shades, I nailed those predictions. I'm not going to lie to you. I talked to Smitty yesterday after the game. We did our live on Instagram, and I had to pat myself in the back. My predictions were right. And if you guys follow my Sleeper fantasy picks, now we're sponsored by Sleeper. 2 weeks in a row, my predictions or my picks gave you money. So if you bet on my picks, we're making money, baby. I'm trying to help you out. I even bet on my own picks. I was like, shit, I'm going to bet on my own picks. My boy, I came up. I bet I think $20 each week. I made money on my own picks. You might as well do it. I mean, the last pick though yesterday, I had I think it was a Kyler Murray touchdown, right? More than half a touchdown. He had to score a touchdown. I was actually happy he got that garbage time touchdown. Low key, when he scored that garbage time touchdown, when he passed, I was like, yes. Low key. And people are like, wait. I was like, I got him on my Sleeper fantasy. I needed that. I'm not going to. It was bad. Oh, man. Ted Beats says, are we signing Zach Ertz? That was the rumor for the last 2 weeks, but I don't know. I think tomorrow will be a busy day because the 49ers are off, and Tuesdays is usually when they go and sign players. So we may get some breaking news tomorrow. I really hope that we get some help. Zach Ertz would help this team, giving another threat and take some pressure off these guys like Kittle in the passing game. And Kittle wouldn't have to block, as much, even though he still will. But, it'll open it up for Kittle. And I think it's just nice to have a guy like Zach Ertz so other teams don't get him. But Kyle did say they were, that was or the reports this last week. I think Matt Barrows said last week, Niners are definitely interested, but haven't seen him make a decision yet, So we'll see. We just got to play the waiting game and see what he decides. And then, yeah, Ndamukong Suh's the other guy. So we'll see what happens. My man, Depressed Niners fan says, it's funny how the Cards scored more points on us than the Cowboys and Eagles. That's actually hilarious. That is actually hilarious, man. The Cowboys, they couldn't do nothing on us. The Eagles, they couldn't do nothing on us. The Cardinals played tough. They played gritty. But also, you got to remember, no Armstead, no Hargrave. That's a huge difference in the D-line. And they ran. The Cardinals ran. They played personal, though. I think division games are a little different, too. The Cardinals, this was a game for them where they knew they could play spoiler. It's a division game. You take them personal. You want to make sure that if you're a division game, if you're like the Cardinals last night, they were the team that has no chance to make it to the playoffs. They're just playing spoiler, and they wanted to make the 49ers work for that NFC West championship. They made them work, and respect the Cardinals for playing their tails off. They made the Niners work. I mean, there was times in that game I was like, oh my God, how is this? It was too close for comfort until the end, and Niners pulled away a little bit, but Cardinals played tough, man, throughout that game. It was one of those weird games to start, and you're just like, oh, that's gonna be one of them ones, huh? Like it's gonna be one of them ones. When I was watching, it was like back and forth. Cardinals took a lead. I was like, what is going on here? And then, Niners pulled away. And the thing about the 49ers is, yeah, you might beat them in the first quarter. You might beat them in the second quarter. You might beat them in the third quarter, but are you going to outlast the 49ers through 4 quarters of football? It is very difficult to beat the 49ers through 4 quarters. So, yeah, man, division matchups are tough. Like Jess Young says, both teams know each other's game so well. Absolutely, 100%, My man Peter Parker says, I called it too. Roger said the defense was going to be off. Yeah, they were. They were very off yesterday. And you definitely did say that. So shout out to you. Shade says Connor low-key owns us. God, doesn't I tweeted out yesterday at one point. I was like, it seems like James Conner's taking this game personally. Like, he literally hates the Niners. It's personal for him. It's a vendetta. He takes it personally. A couple weeks ago when the 49ers played the Cardinals last time, James Conner and Talanoa Hufanga got after it at the end. It was like the shoving match. That we all remember that. And this was kind of like a revenge game for him. He played his butts off. So I can't stand him, but he's definitely entrenched in this division matchup, and he played tough. You're absolutely right, Shardal. Cardinals equal Eagles and Cowboys 29 points. That's crazy, man. That is just crazy that Cardinals outplayed both of those teams. Dodger says the offense really carried this game against Arizona. They really did. And you know what? Sometimes you need the offense to carry, but it's nice to know that the 49ers offense can carry a game, because there's been many times where the defense was off in years prior and the offense just couldn't do enough. Like, they couldn't even score 20 points, guys, and the Niners were letting up points. Because in the past, not going to lie to you, Brock Purdy wasn't quarterback and Trent Williams or CMC wasn't on this team. You know what I'm talking about. You know who the hell I'm talking about. 49ers were where they were before, Niners would have lost this damn game to the Cardinals, because it's happened many times where you're sitting there and you're going, how is Colt McCoy surgically dominating the 49ers? And then you wake up the next day and you're looking at the box score again. You're like, oh my God, it wasn't a dream. The 49ers just lost to the Cardinals. Like, literally has happened before. So absolutely, the offense carried. And it's nice to know the 49ers can carry a team on their offense. Like, it is so refreshing. Shout out to Christian McCaffrey. I want to talk about Christian McCaffrey real quick. We call Dre Greenlaw the Seahawk killer. We call him the Seahawk killer because every time he plays the Seahawks, he takes it personal. We heard the story a couple months ago on the Fred Warner podcast on the Warner House, and he said, look, and Dre Greenlaw says, it was personal because Pete Carroll, he passed them up and he didn't want to look at them twice when they were doing their interviews and the combine interviews, and he was chewing the gum and he's like, oh, whatever. Just threw him off to the wayside. Drake Greenlaw took it personal. Now, Christian McCaffrey, for whatever reason, he owns the Cardinals. I don't know if he takes this game personal or what, but 7 touchdowns in 2 games against the Cardinals. This man has 20 touchdowns. He's tied for the league lead in touchdowns with Raheem Mostert. 7 of those were against the Cardinals. Like, God, imagine if the 49ers played the Cardinals every day, every week. This man would have 1,000 touchdowns by the end of the season. It's crazy, man. I absolutely love Christian McCaffrey. It was the best midseason trade of all time, man. You can't convince me otherwise. He's smooth, man. He's so good. He's just so smooth when he runs. Like, there's so many times I see him, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to break it loose, and he's running behind Trent. He's a monster, man. Kittle with the blocks, Juice with the blocks. Like, the blocking is crazy. But shout out to Trent Williams, man. This guy, he's an MVP too. Like, Trent Williams, man, when he's in there, you can't get past him. He stonewalls everybody, and his blocking is incredible. And you know what? I love the post that the NFL put up. We had to repost it today, where he's huffing when he's hands on head. He's like, bro, I need a break. He's like, he took a long extended break because Trent Williams, that man is just fun. He's great. He's so tough, but he works so hard. You could tell, man. I'm like, all right, take your break, Big Trent. That's a guy I hope the 49ers can win a ring for. There's a lot of players. I mean, obviously every player you want him to win a ring for, but a guy like Trent Williams, he's been in the league over a decade, man. He's played so many years. He's a great veteran. He's a Hall of Famer. He's been one of the greatest players in the last 2 decades in the entire NFL. And you just hope that he retires with the ring, man. You just do. And I mean, Trent Williams is phenomenal. So, yeah. CMC is smooth as a fresh jar Skippy. And I love the chemistry that Trent and CMC have. Yesterday, when CMC comes up to the podium and they're like together, and Trent, like they did the dual press conference, and Trent pulls up CMC. He goes, "Yo, this is my boy CMC. We're gonna bring him up." And of course, CMC, you guys seen the video. He goes, "Yeah, we're robbing Big." I mean, shout out to Big though. Man, that was a classic moment, man. That was a classic moment. If you guys watched that show back in the day, you'll appreciate that. If you know, you know. But that was funny, man. And it just shows how cool, the relationship is. And, you have a top tier running back, the best running back in the NFL, and his lineman, the guy that paves the way for him. Like, they're bros, If you watch them on the sidelines after touchdowns, after big plays, they'll do their little golf celebration. The golf celly is probably my favorite celly in the league. Like, I've seen it. Like, now I see him on the sidelines after the touchdown. I was watching them, in the stadium, and I saw them. They did their little golf celly. I love it, man. Those two guys have a great, great chemistry, man. Fun stuff, man. My man, depressed Niner fan, says, "I'm tired of the Purdy disrespect." We all are tired of the Purdy disrespect. It's disgusting, man. It's so stupid that people just can't accept Brock Purdy as being him. He's him. He's that guy. He's the last pick of the draft, and now he's the best player in the NFL. Arguably, well, not the best player in the NFL. He's among the best players in the NFL. This season, he's statistically putting up the numbers. His film is backing it up. People just can't accept it. Can't accept it, man. Just accept it. Just accept it. Brock Purdy is that guy. It's a great story, and I love it. Go with the ride. Because in 20 years from now, if he continues to play the way he's playing, we're going to look back and say, this might have been one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and we got to witness it. So, love it, man. Julius says, will Nick Wright ever give Brock Purdy his credit? No, man. He's salty. He's a hater. And at the end of the day, he was so deep into his his stance and his narrative. I don't think he will, because he's going to look like such a flip-flopper if he pulls the other way, and that's just not a good look for him. I mean, he's already had a horrible look, but I don't think that Nick Wright's ever going to give Brock his flowers. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think. Nick Wrong does not know ball. He don't know ball, depressed. He doesn't. People just want to be right about Brock being Mr. Relevant and want him to fail, says Boogie. That's it. At the end of the day, that's it. They like a lot of people to fail, but Niners, they got players that prove everybody wrong, and I love it. Just like, who else is proving people wrong, and I love it, is Deebo Samuel, man. Let's talk about Deebo. This man has over 300 yards, 350 yards or something, all-purpose in the last 3 weeks. He has 7 touchdowns in 3 games, dude. Deebo Samuel he's crazy. He's so good, and it's 2021 Deebo. His backpack is he's putting the team on his bag, and it's just incredible to see him tear it up. I posted this on my Twitter today because I thought about it. I was like, man, Deebo really told us that he's going to play his ass off this year, and he felt so bad about how poor he played last year. He had a lot of injuries. He didn't play up to his contract. It was the year after he signed his contract, and people were on his case, man. They wanted to trade him. They said he's this, he's that, and today. And I thought about it. I was like, man, shout out to Deebo Samuel, because this offseason, right, he was critical of his 2022 performance. This was the quote he said. He says, it was awful, every aspect. I'm not going to put something like that on tape ever again. He says he talked to Kyle, and he told him, man, I was upset at myself, and he took accountability. Like, when he did that this offseason, I was like, man, this guy's a true leader. And then he became a captain this year. Like, so the growth of Deebo Samuel has been astronomical. And today he's 41 yards away from 1,000 total yards of scrimmage. He's having one of the best years of his life. He's close to 1,000 yards receiving. He's got 11 touchdowns on the season, man. Deebo Samuel is incredible. So shout out to Deebo, man. He really, really, really worked his tail off this year, and he's been healthy. And I mean, he's been one of the best players in the NFL this year, really, if you look at it. I mean, over the last couple of weeks, touchdown, impact plays. I mean, he's a game changer. You put the ball in his hands and great things are happening. So it's good to see. I love Deebo, man. My man, Robert says Deebo needs to stay a Niner. He really does. He's like the heart and soul of this team. I love this guy. Depressed Niners fan says Deebo lost hella weight in a month during the offseason. He did. Man, if you guys watch his offseason videos, like he was working. He was working. And I respect the heck out of him. And he's a father. So he's playing for his son. He's playing harder for his his mini boy, and that's what he's doing. He's just grinding. And I think he sees like, man, I'm a captain. I'm a role model. I'm a father. I'm this. I'm that. And it's good to see, man. He's kicking some butt. So I'm gonna play the audio. This is what Deebo. So.
When all was said and done last year, how would you assess your season last year?
Oh, it was awful. It was awful. Yeah.
In what way?
Every aspect.
Do you consider that a little bit? Like what? You just said every aspect, but did that leave a bitter taste in your mouth?
Oh yeah, for sure. Me and Cal had a long meeting the other day. We watched tape. We talked about it. We put it behind us, and just going through the tape and just look how sluggish and like how bad it looked on tape. Like I said, just reflecting on last offseason, it kind of played a big role in that. I never put nothing like that back on tape again.
Feel it as the season was going on, or was it not until you went back and watched it?
I was kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit for us, being in my routine that I normally be in for us the offseason, getting ready to play because, like I said, a lot of distractions was going on. But, I kind of felt it, but I was just, trying to will my way to help the team in every aspect possible.
Does it affect what your goals are for this season?
Oh, not at all.
And respect, man. He takes a big man to sit there and say that, I was sluggish. He called himself out, man. Good for Deebo, man. He's true captain. He is the heart and soul of this team. Robert says Deebo brings our attitude and swag to the team. Absolutely, man. That guy is crazy. He's just amazing, man. Gerardo says Deebo pumps me up pregame coming out of the tunnel. His vibe is contagious. Like when he comes out with Trent and they got the boombox and he's hyped up, that energy feeds off to the fan base. It feeds off to the players. And I think that's why they always want to post those boombox clips. And, and some people say it's so corny, but it's a vibe, man. Like people see the video on social media. Oh, look, they got the boombox. Oh, man. You see them coming out. And it's just like, it's infectious energy. And you can tell, man, the players, they love it. They're hyped up. And like when Chase Young first came on this team, what was the big, post of the week was, Ben, you see Chase Young doing the gritty with Deebo and Trent. It's an infectious energy. And I love that. So, good stuff, man. Good team. This team is it. They got a lot of good personalities. Like if you look around this team, just so many great personalities. It's not just like a collection of like 5 or 6. Because some teams you're like, okay, they got some decent personalities, and then there's just a bunch of football players. The Niners, man, even their offensive linemen got some personalities, man. They got some dope linemen, offensive linemen. They're freaking long snapper, Tabor Pepper, man. This is the most swagged out long snapper I've seen in the NFL. Like this guy's a vibe, man. So it's fun. The kicker, he's got some swag, and it's great, man. Great personalities, a lot of big time players, some of the best players at every position. Kittle, man, he's amazing. Deebo, Trent, CMC, Brandon Ayuk, man, and the list goes on. And it's just a fun team. Really, the world is their oyster, man. They got it ready to roll, and they should be able to handle business and take care of what they need to. So, good stuff. Hey, Peter Parker says Deebo's my daughter's new favorite player. They want his jersey for Christmas. You got to get that Deebo jersey for him, man. Deebo's a fun player. He's cool. He's cool with the fans and everybody, and it's just like he's the energy. I like Deebo a lot. So, Christine says this is the best team in years. Yeah, this is a really strong team because I don't think we've had an offense this good, like they've had some decent offenses, some more than decent. I'd say some pretty good offenses, but nothing like this. The Niners, they're scoring at will sometimes. It's just like, man, it's a well-oiled machine. Kyle's got this offense rolling. It's fun to watch. And this defense is great. I know they didn't play great this weekend, but overall they've been one of the better defenses. Again, you're missing Armstead and Hargrave. That's kind of huge. But, the secondary has been playing flat out amazing. Yo, shout out to Mooney Ward yesterday. Let's talk about Mooney Ward. This man had 2 interceptions. For the first time in his career, he had 2 interceptions. For the first time in his career, he had a pick 6. This man told us last week he manifested it. He says, all I got to do is turn these PBUs into INTs. And he says, I'll be considered the top DB in the league. Well, yesterday, he turned those PBUs into INTs. He's the number one cornerback in terms of pass breakups, and he's number 2 in interceptions. He is cooking. He's an all-pro level player. At the beginning of the season, Mooney Ward says he wants to be a Pro Bowler. That was his goal. He's going to make not just the Pro Bowl, he's going to make the All-Pro. This guy's absolutely having a phenomenal season. And, the Niners, when they signed him up, I remember sitting here saying, man, this guy's great. He's got good potential. He's a cornerback 1. Niners needed him. A lot of people were skeptical, but he has really proven himself over these last 2 years. And then Mooney Ward, man, I mean, it's fun watching this guy. He's physical. He can back up his talk, and he's playing some top-flight receivers. Definitely a strong player, and he's got championship mentality. He's played on the Chiefs. He knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl. I think that's a big X factor that people don't talk about. Championship mentality he has. He's a rising star. He's a hungry player because he wants to get more money, and in order to get more money, you have to play great and perform, and he's performing at a high level again. He said, I know the Pro Bowl doesn't matter. We're not going to be playing the Pro Bowl, but he goes, personal accomplishments, they mean stuff to us players. So, I think he was on Sirius XM this morning, and that's what he said. He goes, please vote for the Pro Bowl. He goes, not because I want to play in it. He goes, hopefully we're playing the Super Bowl, but he goes, personal achievement is something to us because we work hard and we want to be rewarded and recognized, because we do put in a lot of work. That's what he said today. And I was like, that's commendable because he has been working, man, and people have been trashing this 49ers secondary for years. And we've sat here, go get a cornerback. And for him to be out there and being one of the top flight cornerbacks in the league, it just shows you how hard he's worked and how far the secondary has come in a long way. It's amazing. And Diamond Lenore, my boy, how many times I sit here and tell you, Diamond Lenore, keep an eye on him. Diamond Lenore, telling y'all, he's tearing it up, man. I love Demo. Love that for him and Ambry Thomas really stepping up, really growing, really becoming, solid cornerbacks, really coming into their own. They're coming of age. They're coming of age, man. Those young bucks are growing up, and it's fun to see. Hopefully, Demo is good to go next week. He has the rib contusion, like we talked about, but Demo is nice, man. He is nice with it. Yeah, Shade says Mooney for All-Pro. Good stuff, man. We're about to close up this episode because I'm going to finish watching this game. But as soon as this game is over, we're going to be live, and we'll be talking about Ravens week. Again, big win for the 49ers against Arizona. The 49ers are the NFC West champions for the second straight year. They went back to back. You got to love that, man. Back-to-back NFC West champions. But like Fred Warner said, that's the standard. It shouldn't be we shouldn't be celebrating it too much. Like, yes, it's celebrated. It's cool. NFC West champions. It's awesome. But you don't hang banners up. You hang championships up, right? You don't hang up a banner. It's nice. You're expecting to win the division every year because your team is dominating, but you want to win the Super Bowl. That's what's going up in the rafters. But shout out to this team. Shout out to Arizona, man. Arizona was a fun place to go and visit and watch a game. State Farm Stadium, good experience. Absolutely fun times. And shout out to this team, the Niner fans, man. Shout out to the Niner fans. Vivid Seats has rated the 49er fans as the best traveling fan base. They make up at least 48% of every game they've been to, man. That's every road game. That's crazy. And believe me, now that I've been to a road game this year, I've been to road games before, but just seeing how many Niner fans were in that stadium yesterday, y'all are the best, man. So my man Greedy Greg says, dang, was about to roll and listen what you got to say. Welcome back. Appreciate you, man. It was a long trip back because I had a connecting flight and had to wait. But the flight went well, but those dang connecting flights. So I'm a little tired, but definitely glad to be back home. Man, fun times. This is a great team. They got a lot of ball to go, though. They still got a long way to go, Like you said, job's not finished. 49ers clinch the NFC West, but hopefully they can get this number 1 seed. But right now, the Eagles, they got a 10-0 win over the Seattle Seahawks. Drew Lock and the Seattle Seahawks, huh? Let's hope Seattle can make a comeback, but I don't know. I don't think so. But we'll see. hopefully the Niners just handle their business. At the end of the day, the 49ers have to just handle their own business. You can't rely on other teams. Every year we sit here and we try to rely on other teams. You just got to handle your business. The 49ers win out. This Eagles, Seattle, Dallas nonsense doesn't matter because the 49ers will be number 1 seed regardless. Just got to win out. And tomorrow though, real quick before we head out, a couple scheduling stuff. So tomorrow, probably about 6:30 p.m. Pacific. I'm hoping to be at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. I got a busy day at work. I will be with Uncovered NFL Jake. You know my boy Jake from Uncovered NFL. We'll be live on Instagram, and we're going to talk about the whole week of football that just happened. We're going to be talking about the MVP race, as we always do. Lamar, Brock Purdy. What's his take? And I want to talk to him about Dak Prescott specifically, because remember he said Dak's his MVP. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll be talking about MVP, Dak Prescott. We'll talk about all the other stuff in between, preview next week's games, and we'll also make a bet. He texted me today. He goes, let's make a bet on this Ravens-Niners game. I go, so if we're making a bet, you're picking against the Niners. He goes, so yeah, Jake is taking the Ravens, and we're going to talk to him all about it tomorrow. So appreciate you guys, man. It'll be fun times. My man, Depressed Niners fan, thank you very much. I hope you have a good night as well. So Jake's choosing Lamar as MVP. Danny, he's picking everybody over Brock. Like low-key, now that I've been talking with him for the last couple of weeks, I see a trend. Like he respects Brock on the live. Oh, yeah, Brock, pretty great. But then if you look at it, his real guy he wants is anybody but Brock. So Smitty was kind of right in saying he's just trying to appease the Niner fans that on the chat, which is a smart thing because if he doesn't, he's going to get hated and roasted in the comments. So low-key, he's a Purdy hater. But we'll talk about it tomorrow. All the best to you guys tonight. We'll probably be live again later tonight after this game, and we talk about Ravens week. But have a good rest of your night, man. Everybody else have a good night, and take care. And go Niners. Number 1 in the NFC West. Number 1 in the NFC. Best team in the NFL. Let's go.